We're live on a Monday edition. Merely Bo, the great Gibbe here. I'm driving down Lou Groza.
Yeah.
Driving in here today. And in the distance, I see, well, it's unmistakable what it is, but it's one of those things that could only happen here, driving in here. And it is a golf cart with a giant head in the back of it, truly bobbleheading. And it was the Hanford-Dixon bobblehead driving from storage to training camp over here to get set up. I was dying. The look of it, just the look of a golf cart cruising down Lou Groza and Hanford's head oscillating.
Of course.
Perfect. Football's here, baby. What a way. Only
Welcome.
here. Only here.
We are officially a go. Welcome to the first day.
I'm not ready for it. I'm not at all, but it's here. Yeah, no, it was, so that was cool. That was cool to see Hanford just driving down the street as I was pulling in.
Bernard has to come in a few minutes after that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be one after the other.
Well, there were two of them. I missed the one that, so Hanford was the one that I saw, but there was actually two of them. One turned right in to go back
There's
to
a Miles, I think.
There is. One of them made the turn right. Just as I was pulling over, I saw it like making the turn, but I got Hanford like the whole drive. Just it's a hell of a look. Like Dark Helmet or something. It was just great.
Some interns driving it going,
driving them
please
around.
Don't drop it.
Wreck.
Please don't fall off. Please don't break.
You will, if you're coming out, and obviously we're going to the Greenbrier at the end of this week and throughout the next week, but when you come out here for training camp after that, it will have a very different look.
Correct.
Than what you're used to. There's been a lot of work here done. There's been a lot of things cleared adjacent to the property for future planning. So this will look a lot different than what you are used to if you're accustomed to coming to training camp.
Absolutely. And I know it's been a little tough to get tickets, but unfortunately, because of the construction and everything, you know, the numbers are a little less this year. So, but
it's a blip.
Yes.
In the
bigger picture.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And honestly, like, training camp is magical. It's all of those things. But let's get to the season. Get to the season healthy.
Can we do that?
Let's get there.
But someone said this morning, "How's your weekend?" I go, "I need about 8 more of them."
Yeah.
But that is not a possibility.
No,
we are a go.
No, it's full go. The reality is you and I we had the Victory Friday show on Friday.
Yep.
But there was chaos in the world with this Microsoft crash on Friday morning, and so it basically screwed up everything. I mean, like, to the point where I was at a Dick's Sporting Goods Friday night north of Indianapolis trying to get some gear for a lacrosse game the next morning, and the manager was just standing out front saying, "You can't come in. This is at like 8:45. You can't come in. Nothing's operable. If you can order something off of the app and we have it, we will try to track it down for you. But you can't come in the store because we can't sell you anything." And that was at 8:45 on Friday night. So it was all day. The bigger issue, of course, has been air travel. Our little team had 3 people who couldn't get there because they were flying in from other places. Big picture, though, in terms of here is like this is a mess for our guys trying to get back.
Correct.
It's a mess for Z trying to get back. So this is still, the fallout of this is still there in the air travel world because, God almighty, everything's oversold.
Correct. Lots of issues. Our director, our department head, his fiance and her, had a girls' weekend.
Yeah.
They went to New Orleans.
Sure.
In an airport for 21 hours.
Yeah.
It's a 3-day trip.
Right.
So you're already down a day.
Yep.
Luggage never makes it.
Jeez.
Never makes it.
And they flew Friday?
They had to rent a car and drive home from New Orleans.
That's a long
because they couldn't get back on a plane.
And what's happened there is, so that's the butterfly effect of it. So many people miss flights that they're getting rental cars.
Backed up.
And so now the rental cars are gone.
Yeah.
So there is no.
If you'd like to put down a mortgage, you might have a shot at a rental car.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a brutal spot. So our rookies are reporting today. Our quarterbacks are reporting today, and then our team reports tomorrow.
I just saw Jameis downstairs. We were in the salad bar line together.
I'm not sure he left.
Jameis is here. You're right.
He might
not
just
have
stayed here all summer. I mean,
yeah,
he was omnipresent. But no, so like rookies and quarterbacks, and then our veterans come in tomorrow. But like there could be some misses there just because of the realities of this. And then when you combine that with the fact that as an operation we head to the Greenbrier Thursday, the window gets pretty tight pretty quick.
Correct. And I do not want to be our travel guru, the best travel person in the business. And Deb, she and I talked briefly this morning. I said, I hope you had a fantastic 6 weeks off.
Yeah.
She goes, I haven't slept since Friday.
No, I'm sure she has.
I'm back, and we're trying to get everybody here.
Yeah, and what are you going to do? Like, 'cause
Correct.
there's everyone. It's just the circumstances of that industry right now that when something happens, whether it's catastrophic weather or something like this, malware, whatever the hell happened here. When these things happen, everything's oversold, and so there is no way to get on. There is no next flight. The next 6 flights are all oversold. So there, even before this happens, there's no flights to get on.
I don't understand how it gets fixed. Number one, I don't understand how it's allowed to continue it the way it's going. But how do you fix this industry that simply does not give a damn about you or where you need to go?
No, it's going to take federal oversight about how you have to, and you know how great all that's going. But you have federal, you're just going to need somebody federally to look over and say, look, this isn't right what you're doing. And they have made. I think they've made strides this summer with that, but I don't know how much of it is in practice. And the reality is it doesn't make financial sense for them to look out for everybody because they're much better off just overselling everything and realizing not everyone's going to make flights, and the odds are the odds that they won't, and so they make all the more money that way. Is what it is, but it's a tough spot, and so chaos around the country on that side of things. Did you have a good weekend other than? Because this was it.
It was a busy weekend. Spent Saturday with my parents. Had a great time. Father's Day belated gift.
Oh, that's right.
With Dad, took him down to the art museum and then over to Little Italy. I don't know why I don't go to Little Italy more. I know because it's a distance thing probably more than anything else. But every time I go there, just awesome.
I feel the same way every time I go there, and we try to go like once a year with the kids.
Yeah.
And go down there. And every time I go there, I'm like, it's great. I don't know if it's just for me and you, for us, it's probably about similar distance for you and I getting down there, despite coming from opposite sides. I don't know if it's just a little too out of the way or a little too hard to get to. I don't know what it is.
Sure.
But once I get there, I'm like, it's great. I love it when we're there. So
had a great meal in the early part of the afternoon, so got out before the traffic got bad. I played a golf course in your neck of the woods yesterday. I came to the east side.
Did you really?
I did. My buddy booked this tee time, and he goes, Gibbs, I booked this like 3 weeks in advance.
Okay.
Because it's that difficult. Have you heard of Ellsworth Meadows?
Yeah, I mean, it's on the way to many of the places that I take the boys to practice. The city of Hudson does a hell of a job maintaining it, and it gets a lot of play.
Course?
It's a public course.
Well, I knew it was public.
And the city owns it.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that the city owns it. I said that emphatically, so it must be 60% true. But they maintain it. There are 2 other country clubs in town, but there are people that if you put them to a lie detector say that the best layout might be that one. It's awesome, and it's always slammed. Always, yeah.
The greens were impossible.
It was
fair.
Glass. Were they fair, though?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they were.
Some. Not all.
Too fast, even sometimes?
Yeah, not even that. Pin placement.
Oh, they were.
Top of the hill, and the hill's going this way.
I got you.
Not great. Yeah. Not great for my game. I can assure you. I'm pitching out of the rough.
Yeah.
It hits in the rough 3 times and ends up 50 feet below the pin.
Oh, I got you.
And I'm like, well, that's not going to work. I've done everything I can to check this up, and it doesn't matter. It was a spectacular course. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And cost effective. It was really, really cool.
Yeah. I know
nice
it's a
track.
I'm pretty sure it's city owned, and it's I know they spend a lot to make sure that it stays at a very high level.
Well, I'm looking at the signs are posted 90 degrees, and I'm like, it has not rained in months.
Yeah.
It feels like.
Right.
How is that this isn't?
Yeah.
They do it. They spend their money on water.
Yeah,
I think that's what the city does. They take my money and they invest it in water for the course.
They're watering the hell out of that place.
It was
ready to go.
But I mean, it was lush. It was green.
Yeah.
I mean, there were no brown spots anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
It was a fun little day.
That's good. Yeah, you were right. Well, I wasn't have been there, but you would have had to drive damn near right by me to get there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Friday, first time in my life I babysat by myself.
You've never done that before?
Not solo. Like
Solo giving is never.
I watched my nephews when they
Sure.
were a little older, but like the 2-year-old grandbaby.
And just you. Give a stand.
Just me.
That's all right.
First and foremost, I'm pretty sure he birthed an alien right after my wife left.
Of course. Yeah.
The worst cleanup on aisle 1 that I think I've ever had to do. I was gagging for a half hour. I had to take the garbage out.
Yeah,
I couldn't even take the diaper. I had to take the garbage. Everything had to
It's all
go.
gotta go.
Got into everything. Somehow I'm putting batteries in a bubble gun because the bubble gun needed batteries.
That's right.
And I turned my head for 30 seconds. Again, not exactly winning the Pappy of the Week award. I look over, and he's kneeling down, and he's turning off my pilot light in my hot water tank.
That's about right.
This is 9:15 in the morning. I'm texting my wife. I go, I think you just turned it off. And I don't know what the settings were at all. She's like, what do you mean? Why did you let him near the hot water tank? I go, I'm putting batteries in a bubble gun. I turn my back. She goes, why would you turn your back? I go, I've never done this before. I'm chasing him everywhere.
Yeah.
The best thing and we had a great day. We had some bumps and bruises along the way. And at like 1:30, he went down for a nap. And it's like, hold your breath for 10 minutes.
Yep.
Make sure he's down. Thank God. Can I have a cocktail?
Breathe a little bit. Can I
get a drink?
Can you get me a cocktail?
So
that is 2 is as tough an age as it'll be because they can communicate some, but not really. I mean, they're doing some. I'm trying to remember that. So they can talk a little bit, but it's not like they can totally explain everything. 18 months is the hardest, but they're upwardly mobile. They're curious about everything. You basically have to baby-proof or put them in a corral in order to like go do it. If you're going to try to do anything on your own, like they have to be contained in a manner of something that they cannot get out of. And that's kind of your only chance.
Yeah, that was not. We went to 2 different playgrounds. I'm like, I am going to wear this kid out so he sleeps because
right.
my daughter's like, he doesn't take naps. I go, oh, he's going to nap
Today he is.
He has to nap for my sanity. It was an adventure. Adventures in babysitting.
That's right. Adventures.
Boy, was it.
Gibbs, you're living my life. You were living my life right now over the weekend.
Yeah, Kev, how old's your kid?
15 months.
Yeah,
that's the hardest. Yeah.
It was brutal. I told my wife, I'm like, I'm all in for Mother's Week. Forget Mother's Day. You get a week. I don't know how. She loves it. She lives for it, and I'm like, this is insanity.
Yeah.
Come back to me when you're 5.
Let's
go. It'll be great.
That is the hardest because they're cruising and they're faster than you realize.
Yeah.
And so then by the time you get to like 2.5, 3, it's smooth sailing. At that point, that's all. That's
From
all
your
pretty
mouth
good.
to God's ears.
That was my. They're pretty good. By the time you get to then, you can reason with them a little bit, and they're But at that, from Kev, you're 15 months.
Yes.
So what's the behavior? What are we doing? We're running. We're walking. What are we doing?
Yeah, he's walking. He's trying to run everywhere.
Falling.
I mean, I try to. Falling. I guess he at the babysitter's late last week. I got home and my wife was talking about how he bit through his lip, like his tooth kind of went through the lip,
happens.
and I mean he's got scrapes all over the place. But this guy just gets up, keeps going, and he does not nap either. I feel bad for like our substitute babysitter today. I hope he is napping for her right now.
It's hard. Amy was really good with this with the boys. Like we were really diligent on, and some of it was I think Beamsy was. Well, most of it was her, but some of it was Beamsy came early, and so like the importance of schedule, and so like we would like change our entire day around. Like I remember one time like my parents flew in and we're like, well, look, you're gonna have to wait at the airport because this is nap time, and he's gonna nap because if we get off this and you get off the schedule, you're done. So like they have to have that schedule. That's the only chance you have. Yeah. Otherwise, it's really, really tough.
How is Indianapolis? I saw a tweet. I think I liked the tweet.
It's on brand for you to like it. So
I don't think we were wrong on
God almighty. So, all right.
Just you and the boys. It's a boys' week.
Me and the boys this time. Bootsy and Aim decided to stay, so the boys and I went. We left I did my morning activities, and then we headed out. And so I wanted to take them to the Hoosiers gym because I had gone, but I wanted them to go. So we stopped there. Awesome as it is. It's just spectacular.
Did you get some shots up?
They did. They got a lot of shots up. So they played a little bit. And then it closed at 5, but like I greased the guy, and I'm like, give us a couple more minutes, and they were really cool. And so that we got some up alone, which was really awesome. And then we got to the hotel. So you guys were there in Westfield at Grand Park, whatever it is, when we went against the Colts, and that's the Andrew Luck retirement preseason game. Like one of the luminaries and I relived all of that this weekend. As we were there, we were on the same team, different age group, but same club. And let's do the positive stuff first. That facility for someone who spent the entire summer in youth sports, lacrosse, as it were, build that thing everywhere. That's it. Like the grass was like a fairway that these kids were playing on. Like the boys walked up to it and thought it was turf initially. It was so perfect. Like not a blade out of place. Just pristine grass. Like normally the best you can do around here with lacrosse is you play on turf. That's as good as it gets. Other than that, You're up to the elements. Like this was flawless grass, like a fairway. So that was awesome. They built, so Carmel and then Westfield are obviously, Westfield very new. I mean, they're just building that as it comes.
Correct.
I have never in my life, I used to think like Dublin, Ohio was the roundabout capital of the world. That's baby stuff alongside of Carmel and Westfield. Brock shaking his head. There's no lights. There are no lights. You get off every exit. You get off an exit here, you got a light. No lights.
Just a roundabout.
You get off an exit, roundabout. So initially you're like, this is stupid. But then you realize, oh my God, I never stop. I keep moving, baby. I just hop you just zip around. I'm like, this is a win. This is an enormous win. The roundabout is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like you just keep moving and you matriculate. You go to the next street, light, no light, roundabout. Let's go. Sold. I'm in. Roundabout it up. It's the best damn thing I've ever seen. I think about when I was coming in here today on Bagley, and I'm thinking like they need roundabout here, roundabout there, roundabout there.
Yeah.
It's everybody moves. Such a win.
You don't get backed up.
No.
There's no such thing as a backup.
No. That was a home run. So normally I don't praise Indiana, but I'll praise their youth sports complex. I know that we have a pretty good one at the Hall of Fame, but it's restricted because there's just not the space. Like this is acres. I mean, you remember it. It's acres upon hundreds of acres.
There's a whole complex just for baseball and softball.
Yes.
And then there's soccer. And then there's lacrosse. I mean,
it's huge.
And then right in the middle is the Colts training camp.
The Pacers are out there now too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a Pacers facility out there too. It was really slick. And Carmel and Westfield, here's what you want because you're basically a prisoner. When you play these youth sports, you're a prisoner of your surroundings.
Sure.
All sorts of great restaurants, really nice hotels. It was great, wonderful.
Nice.
So so that was all good job out of you, Indiana. Friday night, there are 3 spots that are lined up as Hilton Diamond rewards. And I think I've told you a story before. Like I signed up for a Hilton card and a Marriott card when I was like 21, like for points, and I never checked them. So like 25 years of accumulating points, I've got a lot, like a ton of points. And I didn't even realize it until 2 years ago that they'd accumulated. So like my Marriott points, I was like 1 million Marriott points. I'm like, how the hell am I ever going to use this? Well, the same thing true with Hilton. So whatever the top thing is, that's what I have. So they have 3 spots set up for this. So I'm like, okay, well, here's the one advantage of this. I get that. That's fine. So I pull in there. And I did not notice that I had parked underneath a tree. I knew the tree was there, but I didn't even contemplate. It was a long day, and we just parked.
Sure.
Saturday morning when we went to leave, I have never seen more bird number 2 concentrated in one spot, the hood of the roof and hood of my car, than was there Saturday. It was just littered, bombed with bird deuce. I go, God, go to hell, Indiana. Like why can't we just have one great weekend?
Yeah.
Gross. Just absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. But other than that, it was
How did the boys do all right?
Yeah, Beamsy's team played for the championship of their grade. They lost in the final. They ended up beating the best team from Indiana in the semis, who got them in the preliminary, and then they got them in the semis in a really cool game. But then they played right back against a team from Michigan, and they got in the final. NBC's team did okay. They were down some kids. They had 3 or 4 kids who couldn't get in.
Sure.
So like the travel wasn't good. But it's been a long summer.
Yeah,
a little more to go, a little more. But the at the same time, like really cool. And honestly, my favorite thing we did. So on the way back, I supercharged in Dayton, and so we went to Waffle House. Beamsy had never been to Waffle House. I'm like, let's go, dude. Let's Waffle House it up.
Yeah.
So we did the Waffle House while the car charged. Then we hopped back in, and I'm like, I don't know how I thought of it, but I've always tell people when you coach youth sports, do it, and it's the drives that are the most fun because you get all this one-on-one time with your kids. And they were kind of on their screens for the better part of the drive to Dayton, which is about an hour and 20 minutes or whatever. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. Beamsy, get your iPad. We're going to grade I have like it's basically the Tesla radios, like Siri, play this or whatever.
Sure.
So I'm like, let's go top 50 Billboard songs of all time, and let's grade them 50-1.
I like where this is going.
Yeah.
This is going to take a little time, too.
Well, it ended up taking 2.5 hours, the whole way home.
Perfect.
And they're like the idea, like the number, I think like the number 3 or 4 biggest songs in Billboard history was Mac the Knife. I don't even know what the hell Mac the Knife is. It was I want to say like Bobby Darin sang it or something like that. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But it's like an old timer song, but I didn't know if I've ever even heard it.
Oh, I've heard
it. Was like 3 or 4. Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 on the list. Some song from The Weeknd was number 1, which I took great umbrage with. But the idea of them like hearing a Fleetwood Mac song and then for the first time and then grading it was pretty funny. So that was the most rewarding father-son time was that part of it.
Okay.
Was a little
all
bit
right.
of the Billboard.
So you avoided downtown Indianapolis.
No, yeah. So they had the Brickyard.
Correct. They had a lot going on.
They had the Brickyard. They had the National Eucharist, the 200,000 Catholics, and then they had the basketball tournament was there. So all of that was in downtown. But we were 465. And
but they had enough options.
Yeah, it was plenty. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
okay.
it was plenty.
Because we were worried about that.
Yeah,
we weren't
no.
sure what was going to be up there.
I stayed up. It was great. Carmel's great. Westfield's awesome. Like you build a city in the middle of farmland. Like that's how you do it. Roundabout it up, baby. I'm all for the roundabouts. We did have some news in the sport, a lot of news in the sports world, honestly. But what did you make of? And I know you're not necessarily particularly a fan right now, but of LeBron James holding the flag for the opening ceremonies.
I mean, I guess is he currently on Team USA as a whole?
Yeah.
Has he won the most gold medals?
Ledecky, I would think, would have more. Katie Ledecky's got a lot.
Yeah.
Ledecky would have more than him.
Yeah.
Because he's only been to – this is his
third
Olympics. Yeah.
Dinah Taurasi honestly might have more too.
Well, and that's what
she's going for 6th.
Okay, 6th.
Okay. So that's I wasn't sure.
So it was voted on by the Team USA athletes, voted him it.
Well, then.
So it's democracy in its finest.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like I would rather have had like Ledecky or a more traditional Olympic athlete do it rather than the most, one of the 5 most popular athletes on the planet.
Yeah. Who's the most decorated on the team? That's what I went
to.
to.
It would be Ledecky.
Then whoever the most decorated one is the one that should be carrying the banner. Like, come beat this person. I don't know.
I feel like Ledecky might be.
So here's the question, because the opening ceremony starts Friday, and they're on a boat.
Oh, they're going to go down
They're on the Seine.
The Seine?
So they're not walking into a stadium. So are you holding the flag? How long do you have to hold the flag? Maybe
so
that's
barges?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Oh, yeah. Ledecky's got 5, 6, 10. Oh, no. No. Hold on. Yeah, she's got a ton.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like she should have been. And that's – but if it was voted on, like, okay, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I'm looking up the opening ceremony.
She's won 7 Olympic golds, so Ledecky's got to be the most. She's got to be it. All right.
Ledecky's won 10 medals total, LeBron 3.
Okay, yeah. So good job out of you. You like those roundabouts too, don't you?
They are efficient. You're right. You don't stop moving, and they're all over Carmel, Westfield area.
There's not a light.
No lights.
Like you just can't understand it. You get off the freeway, there is not a light. You get into a roundabout. So there's no backup on an off-ramp, on-ramp. You just go. And you're moving.
Very efficient.
It is. They're great. How much of the Open did you get in?
Some, but not enough to my liking. The weather was awful.
It was. Schauffele, heading into this year was like the best player not to win one. And then now he's won 2. And it was one of those. I was trying to watch it at the field, so I had my phone and I was paying attention to it. It was going. He's the latest in a line of guys that win a couple, and then we'll see.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Are you going to
Spieth, Koepka, Rahm? There's all these guys that win a couple of them, and then
it's more worried about other things.
Yeah,
I've done what I needed to.
I wonder.
Made my money.
Yeah, I wonder if but a very cool 65 on Sunday. No real threat. Just kind of
played his round.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some movement on Friday and Saturday a little bit, but it wasn't anything that I was like, I got to. And maybe that's why I didn't watch as much, because I wasn't near a TV, but I had access. I can listen on the Sirius XM app, which I love listening to the major championships on radio. But if there was something good going on, I could have watched it, but I didn't. There wasn't anything that I had to stop what I was doing, I guess.
Yeah, I think that probably I couldn't have anyway, because our games are all morning games, both Saturday and Sunday, so there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity. But we kind of had it going on, and I would, if there was a TV in a concession or whatever, I'd look up and see. And one of those things now where golf made this choice where we're going to have 4 majors from April 1st until the 3rd week of July, and then we're out.
Yeah.
They're not out. Like, there's still the PGA Tour. There's a live event that's going to happen where you guys are in a couple of weeks, a month. But the casual sport fan now will completely unplug from golf until the Masters next year.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it.
Which is weird.
It is.
It's very, very strange.
Yeah,
but
it is very strange.
Yeah. Like you said, was it Justin Thomas?
Thomas.
He was there after day 1, and then he
what, he shoot 80?
Yeah. And it's like, okay, I shot it.
Yeah, and
I mean, we haven't heard from him, and I don't know how.
No, he won the PGA a couple of years ago. Won that the U.S. He won the PGA twice. Rory missing the cut Friday, like broken dude. Like, it's been a brutal summer for him. Divorce, not divorce, back together. Are they? Who knows? Crazy off course rumors. This blow up at the U.S. Open when you have it there to win it.
Correct.
And then clearly the effects of that, still feeling those at the Open Championship over the weekend. So he'll go 10 full seasons without another major. And if you would have said that in 2014, you would have said you're nuts. You would have thought he won 6 at least during that time because of the talent and the calendar that he was on. Billy Joel and Rod Stewart are together for the first time ever. It's Friday, September 13th, Cleveland Browns Stadium. Tickets are on sale now. Visit clevelandbrownsstadium.com/Billy and Rod 2024 for more information and to claim your tickets now. Don't miss Billy Joel and Rod Stewart together for one night only. Those were your hot topics of the day, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. We will go around the league, and there's a lot to go around. We'll do it coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Friends at Jim Beam, what do sports and Jim Beam have in common? Both are better when enjoyed with others. So grab a bottle, gather with friends, and enjoy the game, because with Jim Beam, you come as fans and you leave as family. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2024, James B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky. Drink smart. As we go around the league, the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears have been practicing for a week. The Bengals rookies came in on Friday.
That's one thing I don't miss.
Oh, the Hall of Fame. This is tough, honestly. Like, this week's tough.
Yeah.
To me, it should be
Another
August
week.
1. Like, it's a lot of lead-up, ramp-up time, if you will. The Bengals rookies were there Friday. Their veterans come tomorrow. Our full veterans come tomorrow. Joe Burrow has been fully cleared for contact down in Cincinnati. I saw Zach Taylor speaking this morning and saying that Joe definitely is going to play in the preseason, but they don't know how much, but he wants to, but he's a full go. And what is our hunch on how much our guy plays in preseason?
I don't know. And that's – so if you follow the lead from a year ago, the starters played in the final preseason game, which was at Kansas City. It was –
That's
hotter
right.
than Blue Blaze. It was
Yeah.
it was 112 degrees on the tarmac when we landed that day before. If that's the case, and the most playing time they get is that final preseason game, then you're going to have to stay up late to watch Seattle, because kickoff's at 10:30, and that would be the game they would play in.
It's funny. I just had a conversation with somebody this morning and they were looking at the Browns schedule. And they said, "Well, it says 10 o'clock. That's got to be." That's got to be, is it in the morning? Are they going to play? I don't understand. 10 o'clock. I'm like, no. That's
10
7
p.m.
7 local Seattle.
Yeah.
10 here is when they're going to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know that that's ever happened. I can't recall it. It certainly has never happened here. I don't see any scenario how it makes any sense to say, hey, go take an Eastern Standard Time team.
Go send
play in
Denver
Seattle.
there.
Of course.
Like, go send someone.
God,
You're
even
not- you're
Minnesota.
you're not playing your division person or anybody in your division.
Yeah.
But, like, it's all supposed to be regional for the final preseason game.
It's really brutal. So I think because that third preseason games, you have 2 full weeks.
Yeah.
So that's the one that's kind of become the dress rehearsal. In the old days, that third one, and then you had the fourth one, which was a nothingness.
Well, and that's my question. Like, the week before, we play the Vikings, but we will have had joint practices. That's really where the
You're
starters play.
Yeah, but they won't play in that because the starters will play in the joint practices.
Exactly.
So probably, if I were a betting man and we were allowed to do it here on this program, I would think that you would probably get some starters in game 1 of the preseason.
A series would be nice.
A series, and then you'll see them in that third game out in Seattle at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. But I don't know.
On a Sunday, dude.
Saturday night.
Oh, it's Saturday?
Saturday night.
Oh, I thought it was Sunday night.
Oh, no. We have 3 Saturdays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was Sunday
it's
night.
close to Sunday. I mean, we're 90 minutes away from Sunday.
You're going to get there by the end of it.
Yeah.
You're going to get to Sunday.
I did the math, and everybody hates when I do this because they're like, you're just negative about this. And I'm like, well, think about it. Like, this is all East Coast time.
Yeah.
Game ends at 1:15 in the morning.
Yep.
Probably. It's a
Yeah.
3-hour game.
Yep.
We won't depart from the stadium till 2:15. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll do everything they can to get us
that
out.
goes fast, but still, you
yeah.
got the full roster.
Then you have to drive to the airport. You got
Yep.
a motorcade to the airport. And then you have to load. We don't truck anything.
No.
So everything goes under. So it's 90 players plus all the gear. Everything has to go underneath.
2:15,
I mean, it could be 3:34 in the morning before we even take off.
I was going to say 4 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
And then it's, a 4.5-hour flight?
Well, we have some more than capable pilots that can put the throttle down.
But still, it's
with the jet stream, maybe it's 4.5.
maybe, yeah.
4,
It's a
maybe,
long
but
ways.
otherwise it's 5.5 going out. I mean, it's a long one going out.
Yeah, it's a long ways, man.
Yeah, I can watch a couple movies.
I was talking 20 most interesting programs today. This morning we were doing Washington. Washington plays at Piscataway, New Jersey. They play Iowa. They play Indiana. And they play Penn State. Those are their 4 road Big Ten games.
So Are any of those back to back? Is there a chance? Like, would they stay on the East Coast?
No, but what they do is there's 1 week where they go Piscataway, home to play Michigan, back to play in Bloomington. It's like look, like the money, great, but like no one is thinking about how this is going to affect.
More importantly,
It's crazy.
like this is football. How does it impact gymnastics?
You
like
can't.
who don't
You
have the
can't.
budget for something?
You
like
can't.
The
You're
budget
gonna-
money is
yeah.
going to run out real quick.
Chip
doing
Kelly said this, who's the current Ohio State offensive coordinator. Like he said a long time ago, like football needs to be its own thing, and then everybody else go back to conferences and play people that make sense.
Yeah.
There's no reason for football to try to.
a
There's no
great
reason
point.
for everybody to follow football. Like just football has its own alliances for money and for TV and all of that, and everybody else goes back to their conferences because it's in the non-revenue sports. It makes just no sense.
No.
Yeah. And what's going to happen is those sports are going to be extinct.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to go. Jordan Love not at Packers training camp. Currently waiting a contract extension. Will not take the field until it's finalized. The extension is expected to exceed $50 million per. Not a holdout though. Like apparently they're just waiting for the ink to dry. As I'm reading this morning.
This is the new thing. You don't practice. You show up, but you're in meetings and you're there, you're on time, but then you don't practice because you don't want to risk injury.
Yeah.
I've read some things, it will be fascinating to see what our wide receiver Amari Cooper does.
Sure.
You know, is this the route that he takes? If I recall, didn't he not practice the 1 year training camp? Or no, he got hurt last year.
Yeah, he was hurt in camp.
But
was
he
hurt
got
in
his
camp.
extension, and then he got hurt because he didn't work out. He sat off on the side. Remember, he was on the bench watching practice. He and Jamar Chase would walk over to the bench
That's
and
true.
just watch
Yeah.
practice
Yeah.
until he had
Until
his
they
deal.
get but that was in the works, and they were just waiting for the ink to dry. And I think same thing here. They're just working some legalities out. This could also mean something for Tua. I mean, there's going to be a butterfly effect from this in terms of if this deal ever gets done, but not a holdout. He'll end up being
Correct. This is the new. That way, you're not getting fined for not being there.
Right.
You're there. You're not practicing.
You're just not practicing. Yeah. Well, who knows what'll happen with Amari?
I mean, they got to
later on
report
this week.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So
Vikings first-round pick J.J. McCarthy signed his rookie deal, 4 years, $21.85, 12 in signing, so he is locked and ready to go.
we'll see what that is.
Yeah, he was 70% passer his senior year at Michigan, slightly under 3,000 yards, 22 touchdowns, 4 picks. But the big thing that he had was he was money when it mattered most. Like when they needed a drive in the Buckeye game, when they needed a drive in the semifinal against Alabama, when they needed throws in the Washington game for the national title, he made them. Like he was clutch, and that was a big part of that. Dolphins linebacker Shaq Barrett announced his retirement from the NFL. The 31-year-old began his career in Denver. He played 4 seasons and won Super Bowl 50. He then spent 5 seasons in Tampa, led the league in sacks in 19 and won the Super Bowl in 55 with the Bucs. Signed with Miami this offseason, but will not play a snap for them. So that's where that is on that front. A couple other things. The Texans have signed veteran running back Cam Akers. He played with the Rams and the Vikings last season. He's out of Florida State. Everybody kept waiting for him to kind of be the guy there, and he had some moments, but not. But when he's healthy, he can go.
Sure.
So it's definitely another.
He gave the Rams some good moments.
Joe Mixon not spotted at Texans practice yet. Unclear why he's
They
absent.
reported last Wednesday.
Yeah, they've been there for almost a week.
That
That's not great. It's not a
be
great
a little
sign.
nervous about that.
Did you see Aaron Rodgers with PMT this morning as well? Like explaining.
Yes.
He's the king of semantics, isn't he?
He is taking full advantage of this.
So if you didn't see this, his argument is basically that the NFL has decided that these 3 practices are the mandatory minicamp, like arbitrarily. And so he's like, I was at 10. He goes, I missed 3 OTA practices. The NFL decided these are the mandatory ones, but we're doing the same thing as we're doing in the rest of OTAs.
I don't think he's wrong.
He's probably not wrong, but of course he would be the one. It's just like on the vaccine thing. Like
To fight the man.
He's just fighting the man. Like just this is what he does. This is what interests him, and semantics get him in the clear on those type of things. Does your furry friend have what it takes to beat out the competition? Enter the Dog Dash Sweepstakes. It's presented by Milkbone. Your chance to have your pup compete in the annual halftime dog races. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/milkbone to enter and check out more from Milkbone at your local grocer or pet supply store. I wonder how Buddy Garrity'd fare in that. You'd have to get him. Bootsy'd have to be at the other end with like a bunch of peanut butter.
Okay.
That's probably what he would need. Peanut butter at the other
Is
end.
Bootsy eating the peanut butter at the same time?
Yeah,
It's a snack.
All over his face, and yeah, that's probably the best bet on that. He can fly, though. I mean, he certainly can go. All right, there you go. There you are around the league. Coming up next, the best Browns in the PFF era, according to Gordon McGinnis. We'll have some fun with this as training camp draws near. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back in Cleveland Browns Daily. On a Monday edition, Tyvis Powell will join us coming up at 2 o'clock. We'll go over the roster, do a little breakdown there. Between now and then, the best Browns of the PFF era, be a PFF's Gordon McGinnis.
So since PFF started, 2006.
How many do they list?
One at every position.
Oh, one at every position.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Do you guys have this on a printout, or am I? Do I need
I'm
to
looking
click
at
through
it right now.
Okay, you got it?
Yeah.
So you want me to guess?
No, I mean.
All right. Left tackle, Joe.
Correct.
What's his PFF grade? Do we have it?
94.1.
Pretty damn good.
Pretty darn good.
Guard.
There's one that's higher. Miles Garrett, 94.2 at edge.
Batonio at guard.
Yes.
What's he?
93.6.
Okay. Center, would it be Alex, Mack, or Treader? Is there someone I'm missing?
No, you're.
It's Alex? Is it
Yeah,
Alex?
it's
Mack?
Alex.
All right. Alex, what's Alex?
86.3.
Okay, 0.3.
I actually think he got better once he left us, and he was pretty darn good when he was
probably did. Right guard is Teller.
Sure, 92.8, which I
Well,
would have gone Mitchell Schwartz, potentially.
Well,
there.
Mitchell's right tackle, though, right? Didn't he play tackle?
Oh, that's right. Why did I have him guard? Yeah, right tackle.
Is he the right tackle, or
No.
is it Conklin?
Conklin.
So Jack. Okay, right tackle.
84.1.
Okay, so what we just did right there is an exercise for all of you who come up to me and say, we got to get better on the offensive line or we can't block it. That's a 94, a 93.6, an 86.3, a 92.8. What'd you say Conklin was?
84.1.
84.1. And behind him, you had Mitchell Schwartz, J.C. Treader, even Posick has been very good at times. Like, you've had the best consistent offensive line play for over a decade.
Yeah.
Offensive line play does not mean necessarily success.
Correct.
All right, tight end.
Not going to get this one.
I'm not going to get it.
Steve Hayden,
You're right, I'm not.
2008, 80.9.
Jeez.
Hayden was a good player. Matt Fontana's favorite player, I believe.
Was
Matt Fontana
very
was the
good distinction.
captain of the Steve Hayden
Steve Hayden fan club?
Yes.
Yeah, because, Chief's been very good. Hoop had some moments, certainly. Jordan Cameron had some moments as well. So I think there's some guys in there. All right, the receivers. I'm gonna go.
3 of them.
All right, Josh,
Yes.
obviously.
83 was his grade.
Jarvis
Yes.
and Amari.
No.
06. Braylon.
No. Andrew Hawkins.
Oh my gosh, I would not have had that.
Nope. 83.6. Landry, 84.8.
All right, so Gordon, Jarvis, Hawkins. Chubb is your running back.
Yes, 90.4.
Okay. Got to be 6.
There you go. Baker at quarterback.
Would that would have been the
86.
20 season?
Yep.
Yeah, 2020 Bake. Okay. Did we have them all there
You
on
did.
offense?
Got them all on offense.
I wouldn't have got – so I didn't get Hyden and I didn't get Hawkins.
Yeah. I wouldn't have guessed Hawkins. Not at all.
No.
We've had a few guys. And really, I kind of surprised Njoku's not.
Me too. That he
Especially
did-
with his blocking.
his
and
last
everything.
year was really strong too. This will be tough since 06. Obviously, Miles.
Mm-hmm.
Is the other end Za'Darius?
It is.
Miles and Za'Darius.
Yep. Two on the inside.
Sheldon?
Yep. I love Sheldon.
Me too. He's one of my all-time favorites. He came in here in a Montclair orange vest. It's like a $1,500 vest. The thing was gorgeous. Is Dalvin?
No. Danny Shelton.
Oh, Danny Shelton. Holy cow. First-round pick, Danny Shelton.
82.1.
How many linebackers do I have?
2.
J.O.K.?
No.
Didn't he not? He didn't grade that high last year?
Oh, minimum 500 snaps. He had to.
He would have had to have had that last year. Yeah, he would have had to have.
I don't understand.
All right, no J.O.K. Would AWOC?
No.
All right, I'm going to need some help at linebacker then.
That's fine. DeQuell Jackson.
Oh, yeah. I
Now
forget
on our
when he was
scouting
here, when
team.
he was
One of the lone bright spots.
Yeah,
for
right.
a while.
DeQuell was great.
He was great. And Carlos Dansby,
Oh, that's old school. Auburn guy. Played at Auburn. Really good player at Auburn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A crazy interesting individual.
How many corners do I got?
3.
Denzel.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Not going to get the third.
I'm not going to get the third.
Sheldon Brown.
You're right. I wouldn't have guessed Sheldon Brown.
I would have never, ever.
I would not have guessed that.
I would have been like, MJ didn't have a better PFF grade?
Newsom.
Newsom?
2 years ago, wasn't it? No.
Yeah.
No, I would
Joe
not have
Hayden,
had Sheldon Brown.
82.3. Denzel's only got a PFF grade of 78.9.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like his, for whatever reason, like his, because he was number 2 on that scout GM thing, number 2 corner. And if for whatever reason the PFFs doesn't align. I don't know if there just aren't enough picks or what it is,
Yeah.
but he's the best mirror guy in the league.
Yeah.
I would think TJ Ward is a safety.
Yes. 83.5. You will not guess the other one. Sean Jones.
You're right. I wouldn't have. I don't remember Sean Jones at all.
2006.
Nothing.
Correct is the answer
Yeah,
that
I
we're
got
looking
nothing
for.
on there. All right, so we did all right. And then we got,
Specialists?
sure, Cribs.
No.
Really?
No. Marlon Moore.
I don't even know who that is.
2014. I think it was my second year.
I don't even know who the hell a Marlon Moore is.
84.8.
I got nothing on that.
I shocked.
He's your
that's not
returner?
Cribs. Yeah.
Hopkins?
Hopkins is your kicker.
Yep. He was pretty money. Is Bjork as your punter?
It is. He is. So when was our esteemed kicker who's
Phil?
going in? Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I mean, he was the MVP on this team a couple times.
It spoke a lot to the teams.
Yeah.
He made a ton of clutch, but if you look at like now the way we grade kickers are just a lot more accurate now than they were 15 years ago. They just
Yeah.
are. They just make the percentages now they make a lot more than they did 15 years ago. It's just they've gotten better at it. So that doesn't surprise me that it was Hop on that.
And our special teamer is Jordan Kunashik.
Oh, that's worthy.
There you go.
That's very worthy of it right there. Yeah. But think about this. This speaks to, another thing that people come up to me all about. Oh, the Browns, same old Browns. No, not. Like 80% of the guys I mentioned that we just did this exercise with are on the team currently.
Yeah.
They're on the team currently. So this is the golden era.
Things have changed.
Yeah, this is the best Browns roster since the late 80s. And it's that consistently really the last 3 or 4 years. They made the playoffs a couple times and now it's a very complete roster. And it was the days in the darkness before that.
My buddy Janko, no CBD all-time Brown Demarius Randall.
Demarius Randall. That's a good job out of him.
Well done.
We really liked him. He did have one great season.
Yeah.
And he was, let's be real clear. Z and I do enjoy the guys who come in here.
Yes.
Back pre-COVID especially when we would get guys, and Demarius would come in all the time. So, we liked him.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. He's a good dude, man. And he had one good year.
Not the all-time team.
Not the all-time team, but he did have one really good year.
Yes,
he had
did.
one really, really good year.
Yeah.
All right, Tyvis Powell is going to join us coming up next. We'll take a look at the position preview in the secondary. It is a lot of loaded players. We'll get his breakdown on that coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Homeowners, is your roof ready to withstand another harsh winter? Don't wait until it's too late. Renew Home Exteriors, offering a free roof inspection with a detailed report and quotes for repairs or replacement. The expert team at Renew will assess the condition of your roof, provide you with the information you need to make an informed decision before the winter months arrive. Protect your home and your family from the elements. Visit RenewEstimate.com today to schedule your free roof inspection. Don't let winter sneak up on you. Renew Home Exteriors, your trusted partner in home maintenance, keeping your home safe and sound, one roof at a time. Time down on the Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea Hotline, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. He is a great friend of the program, a former Buckeye, a former Brown, a Cleveland legend. He is the great Tyvis Powell, and he joins us there. Before we get into the football, I'm not sure if Gibby is aware of this. So I am en route to Indianapolis on Friday night, and I hear you on an affiliate here on the Cleveland Browns radio network, 97.1 The Fan down in Columbus, and I hear you goaded into eating a chili dog that was in a refrigerator for over 2 months.
What?
No.
And he ate it on the air.
Whoa.
Oh, hold on now.
First of all, wait.
All right, go ahead. Give me your side of it, because I'm with the boys. The boys are dying. They're like, Dad, is that the type, like the MVP of the national championship game defensive? Like, is that Tyvis? And I'm like, yeah, he's eating a hot dog that's been in a refrigerator for 2 months.
It was not 2 months. It was 2 weeks.
Chili
And
dog.
The problem with it is that, see, I didn't know the whole story. Okay, I didn't know that it was a sign on the refrigerator that said that the power went off at the radio station for 48 hours and you're not supposed to eat anything out of this refrigerator. Somebody took the sign down. So that was an extra cherry on top that I didn't know until after I had taken a bite of it. So, yeah, that happened. Yeah.
That's attempted murder by whoever took that sign off the fridge.
I agree. There should be criminally charged. I just have one question for you, because as you're listening, I am screaming at the radio as I'm listening, and I'm screaming, and all I am saying is this. You had to say, I'll eat it, but to the host, what you should have said is, you first. The fact that he got off scot-free. How did he get off scot-free?
So this is the thing about that. Common Man is on a new diet to where he only eats 1 time a day, and it's dinner. And at this time, it's like 4:35 o'clock.
It doesn't matter. It's 1 bite.
Time.
He's not going to eat a meal. You don't eat that unless the host eats it. That's
a rookie mistake. You know?
It was.
TP. Like,
You don't
was there
eat
any
that.
was there any ramifications
Oh, God.
after eating that?
Well, see, I was fine, Gibby. I was fine. I woke up the next morning, had my regularly scheduled bowel movement. But see, Tim on the other hand,
Poor other guy.
Tim has been sick for 2 days now. He was supposed to call the baseball game, couldn't do it because he was sick. I was supposed to work with him tonight, can't do it because he's sick. So he's really doing bad.
Oh,
And
my God.
he
That's just
spit it
true.
out.
Yeah.
He actually spit his out. So that
he's under the weather.
I got an iron stomach.
All right. Before we get into position preview on our secondary, a lot of these guys really well. You got to look at how many of the current Buckeye quarterbacks were at the celebrity softball game on Saturday.
Current? I don't think it was any.
Keynote's
It
won
was
the
all
home run
offensive
derby. What are you
guys.
talking about?
Oh, you said current. I thought
Current.
you were talking just DBs.
No.
Oh, it
Quarterbacks.
was like
Quarterbacks.
Lincoln was there, Will was there, Aaron was there, and Devin was there. So the top 4. Julian Sand was the only one that wasn't there.
Okay. Just on the look and the way they carried themselves, who starts week 1?
Well, they had an accuracy challenge, and Aaron Nolan won that.
That's not
And
good
I
because he's a
actually
true
like him.
freshman.
Well, I know.
That ain't good. And he's not even the most accurate
Listen.
true freshman. That's saying, and he wasn't there. That ain't good.
But I would say the way they carried themselves, Lincoln was the star, was the whole star. I mean, they talk about how he was like North Dakota or South Dakota's best athlete. I understand why. There's nothing the kid can't do. It's ridiculous. So Lincoln was the best athlete. Will had the most fun. He like dressed up in like a onesie and stuff. He was really having a good time out there. So just the way they carry themselves, I would say Will would probably be the starter.
All right, very good. Yeah, Lincoln Kienholz is a 3-star kid. He was Mr. South Dakota, all this stuff. So
How many people live in South Dakota, though?
Not a lot, but like there was all this conjecture about who's going to win the home run derby, and I'm like, this was for the Cardale Jones, other fine Clevelander. They had a celebrity golf tournament for NIL or celebrity softball game for NIL funds and stuff. And at some point, I'm like, if Kienholz is in it, he's winning it. Because the kid rakes. He's like he could play for Ohio State baseball.
Tyvis played in this game. I sent him a text. I saw him with a glove on his head.
Do you know how to play baseball at all?
Yeah. First of all, listen, I have y'all know that I was Ken Griffey III, okay? If I would have taken baseball as seriously as I taken football, I would be in the major. I wouldn't know neither one of you two right now. I'd still be swinging my bat in the major.
So I'm guessing you got on base every time Saturday?
I went 2 for 3. My last up at bat, I grounded out.
Oh, sad.
But my first one should have been a home run, but it was a ground rule double. Fell just short and went under the thing. And then my second one was a nice base hit. It was very Stephen Kwan-esque, you know?
Well, you went from Griffey to Stephen Kwan.
Griffey and Stephen Kwan all rolled into one. That is great. Talking to our great friend, the great Tyus Powell. He joining on the Twisted Tea hotline. Boy, buddy, let's do. We take a look at this this secondary. It's right there as one of the best secondaries in the NFL. Let's start in your strong suit, which is the safety position. Delpit and Thornhill return as the starters. There's a lot of guys they like behind him. Ronnie Rocket Hickman kind of came out of nowhere last year as an undrafted guy to contribute as well. But at the top with Delpit and Thornhill and then the depth behind, what do you make of that group?
I think that's a special group. I think that they were all making really good plays. You know, Juan Thornhill, his impact is beyond the football field. I mean, he brings the trash talk. He brings the juice. He brings the we ain't backing down from nobody. And we saw it on full display when they played San Francisco. Who was front and center for that scuffle? Juan Thornhill. So I think that mentality that nobody can mess with us and that we're the best is something that was missing. You know, I think that people kind of believed in themselves, but they wasn't overly confident. And I think he brought that to this secondary, and you see them making a bunch of plays. You see them out there getting loose and dancing and coming up with, you know, handshakes and stuff like that. So I think that was an essential piece that they had last year. Just needs to stay healthy. When I look at Grant Delpit, I think Grant Delpit could be one of the best strong safeties in this game. There's nothing that Delpit can't do. He does a great job of covering tight ends. He does a great job of reading the offense and knowing what's coming and making a play. I'll take you back to when they played Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, and I don't know if he pick-sixed it or if he got the pick and got down there, but I want to say that they were in cover one. Everybody had outside coverage. He went and robbed the inside slant and made a big play. You know, that's just recognizing what's coming. That's understanding the game and getting your guys in position. So I'm excited to see him healthy. It was unfortunate that he missed a lot of the season with that groin injury. So hopefully he took some yoga classes and did some stretching this off season.
What did you make about Ronnie having the impact he had? I mean, an undrafted guy making, I think most people consider this for sure, a top 10 roster in the league, really deep at safety, came in, made the team, and played really well at times.
I think Ronnie was very undervalued coming out, you know, and maybe it's because, you know, he was in the new scheme with Jim Knowles, but I thought he was very productive when he was at Ohio State. Here's a guy who was doing everything. He could play the post. He could play the box. He could play man. He was doing all the things that safeties are asked to do today. You know, the safety position is changing. Usually you could have, you know, a box safety that's 240 pounds, you know, that's essentially another linebacker. But nowadays, you got to be able to cover in this league. And I thought he did a good job of doing that. And then when they asked him to play in the post, he was better than a lot of people that I've seen as a rookie. I mean, he understood how to play the post, understood where the threats was at, and he was able to be free and make some plays. You know, I think that you got to give credit to Jim Schwartz for, you know, telling him, look, just go out there and have fun. Be you. You know, this whole defense has got your back. And it's no better feeling than knowing that I can play free. Because when you're worried about making a mistake, especially as a rookie, you just want to get it right. You want to be in the right spot. But to me, he was a guy that took it a step further. Not only am I going to be in the right spot, I'm going to make a play. And that takes a ton of confidence. So you got to give Ohio State, obviously some credit for, giving him the confidence enough to do that. But those guys around him, I talked to, D'Anthony Bell, and he was telling me how it's just everybody was dogs. Everybody prepared on that team and was ready to go in at any given time. No matter if you was the 1, 2, or the 3, you was ready to go in that game and contribute because you knew at some point your time was coming. So I have to give Ronnie Hickman a ton of credit for just being ready and answering the bell when it was time.
Browns radio analyst Tyvis Powell joins us here on the Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea Hotline. TP, this team returns the bulk of the secondary from corner and safety. There were times where it was a little rough, especially when the team wasn't at home. These groups kind of struggled a little bit, and then they struggled, obviously, in that playoff loss to Houston. When you're bringing back everybody, what do you learn from that? What do you think Jim Schwartz's message is to these guys that are all returning this year?
Well, when you're returning and you're in the same scheme 2 years in a row, now you're able to analyze things better. For the first year, it's like I just said with Ronnie. It's trying to make sure that you get the playbook right. You can't be concerned about what everybody else is doing because you got to make sure that you're in the right spot. Now that it's year 2, they're past that. They know each other like the back of their hands. They know where to go. They know, how this guy's going to play and what he's going to do on certain situations. So now you're able to play off of that. Now it's just about communication. That's the biggest thing in secondary. You asked me a couple of years ago, I think Joe Woods last year, what was the biggest key that allowed them to fail? It's because they didn't talk to me. They weren't pre-snap talking. You need to tell everything. If you see it, everybody need to be on the same page. And I think that's where they need to go this year. Just talk it out. Have a plan for whenever you see something, and trust that your brother's going to be there because he's shown you time and time again that he has your back. And I think Jim Schwartz just needs to let them go. Don't let it be overcomplicated. Just let those boys play and trust that they're going to make plays.
I think Jim Schwartz was we've talked about it a lot with Miles. I think he really awoken a sleeping giant with Miles. Just his personality. Miles is always dominant, but just his personality really came out with Jim. And I think Jim fits these corners like a glove, man. I really do. I think it's everything Denzel saw, from the front office types. Tyvis rated number 2 corner in the league. MJ Emerson does not lack for swagger. Newsome as well. That threesome, what are they capable of? Where do you have them in the league in terms of how near the top, if not the top?
Oh, they at the top to me. I mean, you got 3 guys that's essentially game wreckers. They're game changers. It's hard to find 3 corners because you got one on the outside and maybe your nickel is up and coming, but the other outside guy is usually the weak link. Well, when you look at their resume, I mean, these guys do well against the pass, not just in coverage, but like PBUs. Like they get their hands on the ball. Martin Emerson had multiple picks last year. So it shows that these guys are true playmakers, and I think that there really isn't a weak link. Yeah, you could go off the Houston game and they had a bad game, but what helps them is that they also have a really good pass rush, and there's no, everybody wants to be like just single-handedly point out one. This whole defense works together. That if your pass rush is good, you don't have to cover for that long, which is going to make the ball come out quick, which means that now I can jump some routes, or now I can be if I cover my guy in this past 4 seconds, it should be a sack, So it goes hand in hand, and I think that that's why this secondary is able to thrive, to have that confidence. You talk about Denzel. Denzel is a quiet guy, he doesn't really say a lot, and for the most part of his time in Cleveland, he made plays, but it wasn't like to me, he never came off like I'm the best in the league. Like I'm that dude. Like he never came off to me as that. When I seen him come up with the swaggy dance, rocking out with the guitar, and just the way that he challenged people now, you can tell that Jim Schwartz has instilled that confidence in him. And to be successful in the NFL, that's the major part of it, is that you have to have belief that you are the best ever. And if somebody catches a ball on you, got to be crazy enough to say to yourself, that was fluke, and he'll never get it again. And I finally see that with Denzel. And with Martin, he came in with that attitude. Martin Emerson probably feels like he should have been a first-round pick, and the fact that he slipped in the draft bothers him, and he's out to get his get back every game, and he's held his own. It's a tough assignment being the opposite side of a really good corner because you know that they're going to go after you. And he's never back down. He's actually welcoming it. He wants you to do it because now he gets a chance to make plays on the ball. And when it comes time to get paid, there you go. You can go and show the numbers that you can see my productivity on the ball.
It does it, man. It speaks for itself. I'll get you out of here on this one. This defense, let's do big picture defense, was the best in the NFL a year ago, depending on the metric in the top three almost universally. How do you follow that up? You've been on a team that climbed the mountaintop. Now, they haven't climbed the mountaintop of winning the Super Bowl. You guys won a national title. But coming back in 2015, how do you take something that was already great and continue to build on it? How much of that onus is on players, coaches, everybody? How do you make it better the next year when you're already so good in the previous year?
Well, I think the Browns is actually in a perfect situation because although statistically wise they were good, there's some stats that's glaring. Good opposing or away games, they weren't great. Against good quarterbacks, they weren't great. So now you go in there with you can't rest on anything because this whole offseason, all you heard about was, why didn't you guys play the same from home and away? What was the difference? Why is it that when you go up against a good quarterback, you guys didn't show out? So it's motivating because you look at that schedule this year, they're playing all the good quarterbacks. So it's time for them to go out there and really nip all of that in the bud, whether it's on the road, whether it's at home. They need to go out there and play with that chip on their shoulder. And I think that part of it is what's going to keep them hungry. When playing with the LOB back in the day, those guys was hungry because they wanted to be the greatest secondary or the greatest defense ever in the history of the game, ever. And that's what they kept striving for. The Browns, to me, they're figuring out, okay, we could be the top of the league, but it's still some things that's missing. Now, they want to take it another step and say they want to be the best to ever do it because for the first couple of games, I think they were on that path. They were comparing them with the Bears back in the day. Mm-hmm. So if they want to get on that path, then you got a long way to go, and you got some motivation there. So that, to me, is where they need to be. We need, instead of trying to be the best in the league, we've already accomplished that. Now we want to be the best defense to ever play the game. And that requires discipline and that requires sacrifice. And those guys seem to me that they're willing to do it.
If someone offers you food that has been in the refrigerator for 2 weeks,
you say no.
You say no, buddy. You say no.
TP, listen, I need you upright and functional.
I did it for the fans on,
You did.
You can watch it on YouTube now.
Oh, my
God.
God.
I did it for the fans.
And if, at the very least, my friend, you first. At the very least,
100%.
Well, to be fair, Tim did go first.
Well, he did. I'm talking about the other guy. You first.
Common man got away scot-free.
He did. That's right. He orchestrated the whole thing. Great talking to you, my friend.
Thank y'all so much. Go Browns, go Bucks.
All right, that's a great Tyvis Powell. Just energy for days out of this kid. He's just the best.
I didn't know he had done
that.
that. I saw him play softball, but
yeah, he did that Friday. The boys and I were listening, and I'm like, dude, I'm screaming at the phone. Screaming, you first. Fine, I'll try it, but you first. You never do that first. Today, as a quick aside, I think we got a little bit of time. I just wanted to share this with you. Today, I don't know if you've ever done this. I don't know if our audience they probably would never be aware. This is the day that Mike Brown in Cincinnati serves turtle soup.
Really?
Yeah. So they do it every year. This is his press conference. So I went down to this for 6 or 7 years. He's available. The general manager is available, and the head coach is available. If you are any affiliate who regularly covers them, or even if you, like we weren't, but like we had their games as a CBS affiliate, you get a one-on-one with Mike Brown, the head coach, and the GM. They do it one day. So they have TV goes in the morning, print goes in the afternoon, or they swapped it. In between, they serve lunch. The lunch is tossed salad, turtle soup, and you can either have a steak or chicken at noon. Like,
that's a heavy
old school. It's an old school.
When do I get my nap?
Yeah, like it's an old school, like Mad Men era 6 martini lunch meal. But he's doing it right now, and he did it today, and I see him. He's talking about they're asking about the Joe Burrow golf cart video and all of that went viral. But he always serves turtle soup. He loves the turtle soup.
All right. Do you guys know what turtle soup is?
It's in the name.
Nope.
It's all there. Honestly, it's really good. It tastes. It's got a very dark soup. It's a very dark soup. I would say it's probably most similar to like a more flavorful beef barley. Is kind of the consistency of it. The turtle's it's kind of like shredded more than it is like chunks.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's rich, but it's really good. It's a good soup.
That one meal equates what the media will get for the rest of the year.
No, that's it. That's what's crazy about it. And
There's
look at
nothing
it.
else.
Look at they're in front of like paneling, like
That looks like 1975.
that's how they want it. The meal's like 1970, but I'll give them credit. Owner, GM,
That's a pretty
coach,
good.
one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Everybody gets them. You get it. Every year I'd go down there. I'd get, and it's not like you get a half hour, but you get
10 minutes.
10 minutes, 5-10 minutes with the coach and the general manager and the owner. So it's fun. But I just saw him talking. I'm like, yeah, I know what that's all about.
I saw it pop up on your screen, and I'm like, oh, that must be a turn back the clock. No, that's live.
Yeah, no, that's it.
That's happening with the paneling in the
That's
background.
happening right now. That's how they do it. All right, coming up next, the college football stuff starting to amp up a little bit as well. Big Ten Media Days start tomorrow over in Indianapolis. Buckeyes go tomorrow afternoon. We have a preseason projection for how all that can go, and we'll have a little fun with our buddy Paul Feinbaum as well. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Cleveland Browns single game tickets now for all the great matchups at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/tickets or call 440-891-5050 to purchase today. College Media Days are ongoing. You had SEC Media Days last week. You have ACC Media Days started today, and then Big Ten Media Days are tomorrow. Big topic of discussion is going to be Tony Petitti. He's the commissioner of the league. Him and Greg Sankey, who runs the SEC, along with their television partners, Sankey ESPN, Petitti with Fox, then to a lesser degree CBS and NBC, run the sport. And so they're going to decide the future of the sport. Petitti has never had a true free-form Q&A.
Is that happening?
It's happening tomorrow at 11.
Perfect.
He is not going to give you a whole lot, I don't think, in terms of specifics. In terms of here's what we're going to do on this, here's what we're going to do on this, here's where I am in expansion. In fact, he'll probably lie on expansion and say they're not interested in anybody. But the reality is they would take North Carolina and they'd take Notre Dame first before the Florida schools or any of that. But what I do think is curious is I'm curious about where he sees the playoff going forward. Sankey with the SEC last week was pretty locked into 12, but then they randomly put 14, and obviously that's to give the SEC and Big Ten champions a bye, which I think is nonsense. Nobody should have byes. Just play.
No.
So there's talk about doing that. And then I think the other thing that I'm curious about is how engaged is he on being active in moving the college football calendar so that you're not going head-to-head with the NFL in January. And I think that, to me, along with the biggest off-field thing that they got to sort out is how they're going to pay players and how Title IX fits into that. But then in terms of the product on the field, they have got to take in my opinion, they have to take the college football calendar and start it in what they now call week 0. And they need to play, for example, the Ohio State-Michigan game would then go how it used to be. It would be the Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Perfect.
And then you'd play the Big Ten championship game if you feel like you still have to play them. You would play those. The championship games would fall the Saturday after Thanksgiving. You'd go 1 week off, and then you could play 3 straight weeks and have the national champion be crowned right around New Year's Day or the Monday after.
Sure.
That's where they got to be. You can't go head-to-head with Goodell for a month.
I liked what Chip Kelly had to say. I missed that.
He said it that's because he was at UCLA and nobody listened.
But yeah, UCLA in this preseason poll by Cleveland.com picked 15th.
UCLA of the Big Ten.
Yeah, UCLA of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Putting when Cleveland, I guess Cleveland.com did this poll, and then everybody else picked it up.
So Doug did it.
Oh, he did.
Doug did it. So Doug left
Why
Cleveland.com.
did they credit Doug?
They should have. Yeah. So Doug did it. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost sure Doug did this one. USA Today did one as well. But Doug did one with the new podcast he's working for, Doug Lesmerises, longtime Cleveland.com, and now on his own with Kings of the North and that type of thing. So he always did it for Cleveland.com. So maybe Cleveland.com's still doing it too. I don't know.
Sure.
But Doug did one. I'm pretty sure this is Doug's.
Okay.
Here. But yeah, so then Ohio State will talk tomorrow afternoon as well. So what Chip was saying, he said this back when he was UCLA, is, hey, let's just take football and call it its own thing.
Yes.
And that's what they should do.
And then go back to the original alignment for every other sport.
Everybody
I'm
else.
Fine with that.
Yeah. Now, the problem is you're going to have to wait until, because, half the Pac-12 half of it is in the Big 12, and then a quarter of it is in, 2 teams in the ACC, 2 teams on their own with Oregon State and Washington State, and then 4 teams in the Big 10. Can you if I give you a school, Brock, you're an intelligent young man. If I give you a former Pac-12 school, can you guess the conference
that they're in
now? Arizona.
ACC. Big 12.
Big 12. Colorado.
Big 12.
Oh, you got that one. That one actually makes some sense.
Yeah.
Stanford.
ACC.
Correct. Oregon State.
Independent.
No, Pac-12.
Oh.
Pac-12 still 2 teams. If you go on their site, it's active. Pac-12, and it's Oregon State and Washington State.
Wow.
So Arizona State, Utah, Colorado all went Big 12. Stanford and Cal panicked and went ACC. Oregon State and Washington State on their own in the Pac-12, 2 teams.
Why not stay with them in the Pac-12?
UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington all in the Big 10. because the leadership of the Pac-12 was the worst leadership. They were paying upwards of $100 million a year to rent space in San Francisco for their headquarters. Like, they just were burning money left and right. And they thought they could get to market with a television product. And had they been able to just keep them all together for one more year, because they had the Colorado year last year, they had a team play for a national title. Oregon was great. USC had the defending Heisman winner. Like, they were right there, but they could not keep it together last summer. And it all just crumbled. So it's a mess. But it's a joke. It's an absolute joke what they've done with all of it. So the Ohio State will go later in the afternoon tomorrow. They're Ryan Day will talk. One thing to pay attention for a lot of Ohio State fans out there, you will hear a bristling from Ohio State folks and probably Ryan Day, because one of the national perceptions is Ohio State bought the roster.
Yeah.
Now, Ohio State only brought in 6 transfers, but they brought in the right 6 transfers, including maybe the best defensive player, certainly the best defensive player who was on the market and one of the top 5 defensive players in all of college football, Caleb Downs, the safety from Alabama. They did buy those guys. And if I were Ohio State, I would lean into that. If somebody said, hey, you bought the roster, so?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what? Get used to it.
Sorry that you didn't have the money to do it.
Yeah. We've got a lot of money. We've got a bunch of corporate money. And we have a history of winning and developing guys for the NFL. And the combination of all of that is going to work very well in our favor. So, like, if someone – I don't understand, like, this notion, like, if somebody accuses you of that, why that is a downfall, why that's somehow a slight. So what?
Great.
Who cares? That's the business now.
No, plenty of teams that pay their way to a championship.
It's the business now, too. Like, It's just – that's the way it is. Like, you pay for players. You pay for recruits. You pay for transfer portal guys. You got to pay to keep your own guys. This is the world we're living in.
Until you get a unified system.
The only way is the NFL model. It's the only way. If they want control over rosters, it'll be like this until that happens.
Yeah. So, August 27th, Netflix will release Sign Stealer, part of the Untold docuseries on Connor Stallions and the Michigan Advanced Scouting scandal. Interesting.
I wonder who's producing it.
I don't know. That came from Dan Wetzel.
Dan might be producing it because I think he produced I think he did the Aaron Hernandez doc. I think he was involved with that. That was on Netflix. I think if depending on who talks on that,
yeah, that's going to be the key.
That'll be the key. The other thing I always tell Buckeye people, like, you're never going to get your pound of flesh on this.
Nope. Doesn't matter.
You had your chance.
They won a national championship.
They won the national title. Harbaugh's gone.
You can't just take the banner down.
They're not taking banners down, and I don't think they should.
Yeah.
Like, you had your chance. You played them in the game. You lost, and that's it.
Yeah.
So get retribution down the line, but for right now, they get the last laugh.
Yep.
I always tell people that Jim Harbaugh he's Danny Ocean. Like, he stole from the 3 casinos and he gets away scot-free. Like, it all worked. It all worked for him. And so, yeah, you guys tip your hat to him. This is they were arguing about this. All right, so
Correct.
So Paul Feinbaum, who I have on regularly, and I know he's done a lot with 850 through the years. He is on a real heater right now in regard to Lincoln Riley, and is quick to say he's the most overrated. He stinks. He's done nothing, so forth and so on. I would also say he did the same thing with Jim Harbaugh a year ago, and then Harbaugh did what he did. So, like, not saying Lincoln Riley's going to do that, but, like, Lincoln Riley didn't forget how to coach football in 2 years at USC. He just had the Heisman winner and the number 1 pick. Like, they'll be fine. But
they
this has
can't
been
play defense.
They cannot. So Stephen A. And Paul were discussing if Deion Sanders would make sense at USC if Lincoln Riley does in fact go to the NFL or do something else after this season. Let's have a listen.
Stephen A.,
it's 2 minutes.
But to me, it's about trajectory. And I think he's lost the momentum. He had that town. Stephen A., you live there a lot of the year. You have to win in L.A., otherwise you lose badly. And I think he's losing badly. And instead of harping on Lincoln Riley, I've decided to come up with a solution. I thought about this the other day. Okay, maybe he does well, maybe he doesn't. But the answer is really moving forward. And I believe the answer after this season is Deion Sanders. He's going to be tired of Colorado because, quite frankly, it's not prime time. He's done well as he can with his son and Travis Hunter and all the Stephen A's and Shannon Sharp appearances. But that's going to dry up this year because they're not going to be that great. But you put Prime in Tinseltown, and I think you have one of the great combinations in history. We just got through talking about, or you did, LeBron. LeBron has owned that town as many others before him. And I think Deion Sanders, as the coach at Southern Cal, is the answer to the problems. Lincoln Riley is a good coach. He's got a great resume. Deion Sanders just exudes exactly what that community is all about. He takes the recruiting there, which Lincoln had and then lost. But I think he sustains it, especially now. Today, the Big Ten Media Days is going on with Southern Cal. And can you imagine a year from today, Deion Sanders walks into Big Ten Media Days. Everybody else, get out of the way.
I have no issue with that whatsoever. Zero. I mean, I'd love for it to happen now. But what I'm saying is that as porous as Lincoln Riley's defenses have been throughout the years in Oklahoma and USC, it still didn't prevent him from winning an inordinate amount of games and getting his team to the college football playoffs. So to talk about him like he'll be lucky to be an assistant coach
but Stephen A.
is a bit cruel.
Stephen A., the defense, he's got to coach defense. 56 offensive touchdowns allowed. That was second most of all the Power 5 schools.
I agree with that, but I did say, despite those defenses,
I mean,
he got him to college football playoffs. All I'm saying is, come on now.
I'd be curious to know if USC brass would be open to Deion, because I like that. I like that little marriage there.
Deion
that fits on many levels.
That works. Because I don't like him in Boulder. I've told him that. I don't like him in Boulder.
No.
So prime time, that's Tinseltown, okay? That's Tinseltown.
I think prime time can go anywhere.
Are we sure about that?
This is what happens when people who don't talk college football start talking about college football. Now, Paul does, and he knows what he's talking, and he's gaslighting a little bit with this Lincoln Riley stuff.
Sure.
Do you know how many signees Colorado had last year in its recruiting class? Normally, you have between 18 and 25.
Six?
Five, actually. Five last year. He's got 6 for 20. He does not recruit.
No, it's all free agents.
He said last year that he doesn't want to go to a school because then another school will feel bad that Coach Prime didn't visit him. That's the job. That's what you got to do. He does not want to recruit. By the way, a lot of flash, very little substance at Colorado to start. And what happens when his kid, who is a first-round talent, and Travis Hunter, who he pulled from Florida State to go to Jackson State and eventually to Colorado, what happens when they go pro next year?
Correct.
Like, you're going to put him at USC?
Yeah. No. I don't. That being said, it will get very interesting if Lincoln Riley throws up an egg this year. And USC
you know
is
what, though,
8-4.
dude? Like, this is what I would say. Like, you got to settle on something. And it's possible. There are so many distractions in Southern California. Like, I kind of feel like, all right, follow me on this. It's kind of like the 90s Indians when you think about Pete Carroll's USC Trojans. I'll get there. All those sellouts.
Sure.
The perfect combination of talent. The Cleveland Browns were not in town. Okay? The Cavaliers weren't much at that time.
Correct.
Mid to late 90s. They were the one show in town with a glistening new park and a ton of talent. And they owned it. They owned the city. USC, during the time of Pete Carroll, there are no Rams. There are no Chargers or Raiders or anybody else. The Dodgers are irrelevant at that time. That's McCourt's ownership. It's rudderless. The Lakers have Shaq and Kobe, but they were second place in L.A. And Shaq and Kobe fall apart during the peak of their run.
Correct.
Like 2005, Shaq and Kobe are gone. They're the biggest show in town. Like Leinert's dating Hilton and Reggie Bush is dating Kim Kardashian in college. So it's possible that USC that they're trying to duplicate isn't duplicable, that it was a one-off thing.
Yeah, it's like when the U.
Right.
Like Bernie and the crew. Irvin.
And they've had those the U's had several runs through the years. Like USC had the Carroll years, and then you got to go back to like the 70s.
Yeah.
And early 80s. Like Marcus Allen, James White, O.J. Simpson through the 60s. Like that was John McKay, that was there. John Robinson followed him, and then they had the Pete Carroll. But other than that, they've been largely irrelevant. So I don't know, like, who's going to take that job. And I remember Urban saying his big beef with that job is, he flat out said it, like, people eat too healthy out there.
I don't want to. Yeah,
We need some big kids on the lines. Like, I got to go to the South, to the Midwest to get linemen. That's tough to recruit that. So I think that Lincoln will be fine there, but it'll be fascinating to see what happens with all of these teams in the Big Ten. The Buckeyes, the overwhelming pick to win the Big Ten. I think they had 27 of the 33 votes. The other 6 went to Oregon.
Yep.
At the top of.
But just look. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, you go 12 Minnesota, 13 Illinois, 14 Northwestern, UCLA 15, Michigan State 16, Indiana, Purdue.
This is so. And Rutgers with Shiano they'll be okay, but Rutgers,
Is
Maryland,
that the cutoff line?
Well, Washington at least played for the national title, but Rutgers, Maryland, Minnesota, Illinois, Northwestern, Michigan State, Indiana, Purdue. That's why when the Big Ten would have a chance, obviously they'd love to have Notre Dame. I think they're more open to Florida State now than they were 5 years ago because their television partners need TV shows that'll rate 4 million people. And those schools that I just mentioned, they don't do that.
They don't do that.
They don't do that. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. The National Sports Collectors Convention returning to Cleveland's IX Center. It is this weekend, July 24th through 28th, featuring 140 superstar athletes. Manny Ramirez, Joe Montana, Floyd Mayweather, The Answer, Allen Iverson, to name a few. Over 850 exhibitors. For tickets, visit nsccshow.com today. That, I think, ought to be a hell of a good time. In terms of your timetable for the kind of the way the rest of this week works out. So rookies and quarterbacks here today.
Correct.
Veterans show up tomorrow. Practice Wednesday, kind of.
A walkthrough. It'll be a, hey, welcome, everybody.
Nice to see you, kids. We're back. It's time to go. It's go time. And then Thursday, planes will depart.
Yeah. 3 days from right now, we will hit the practice field for the first time in a practice capacity.
Down there.
Yes. Z, no pressure. I need you home.
Somewhere.
Yes.
Wherever he is. No, like it's here now.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting thing because when you guys are down there, like you're just immersed in it, right? But it's so out of state, kind of out of mind. You're so removed from like everybody else, and I think that's part of the idea.
Yeah.
But it is remote as you're going to get.
Yeah, you can't take a shuttle anywhere. Like, there's a reason why I drive it.
Yeah.
Because it's a long 10 days to stay at that property.
Yes.
And expensive.
Yeah. It's
So,
a wonderful place, but it's very
if I need to
unique
get
and
away
it's-
for a couple hours, especially next Sunday, it's our off day.
Are you guys going to do anything that you didn't do? Is there something that you didn't want to do or try to do?
I don't know. I wouldn't mind going to see the rest of the bunker. Like, we're in one of the bunkers.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's our backup for weather.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the main bunker.
Yeah,
at
like
some
the
point.
old one, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's just get it done.
That's right. Yeah. Let's get there and get it done,
Yeah.
and away we go. We will be back tomorrow for more fun. The next level is coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Runs Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.